Welcome to Inquiry into Self. So I'm continuing this series from my book, An Unprincipled Life, Living from the Unknown. So the next chapter is about basic okayness. As you're probably getting a sense, part of an unprincipled life is recognizing that reality is prioritized above our ideas about reality. And that involves letting go. Now, it doesn't have to be like everything lets go forever and ever. That might be too much. But it can be one little thing for just a few seconds and just experiment with it. I had a friend who was certain her dad shouldn't have died, that her life would have been better if her dad had not died. And, you know, as long as she believed that, she had a guardedness about life because it never was quite what it would have been. And that prevented her from the full experience of what life was. So just teasing that open a little bit for a little while, maybe good came from my dad dying, would be a definite letting go in that moment. For me, my particularly big letting go was when I recognized that I couldn't make my marriage last. And a well of acceptance and love just flowed through me. The same thing when I was at the silent retreat, and I realized hoping for enlightenment was going to make me waste the retreat because I wasn't going to be present for it. I was constantly evaluating it against what I wanted. So I let go. Who cared if I was going to be enlightened? I was just going to be in the retreat. And lo and behold, the next morning, the individual thoughts were gone. So this willingness to just test and see what is it like to think maybe my ideas are not right. What is that like? It takes a certain sense of basic okayness. When we're in terror, when we feel total danger everywhere, it's very hard to let go. We're gripping onto the wet bar of soap and it's going to squeeze out of our hands, but we just can't get ourselves to hold it lightly. Well, if we have a sense that maybe life is okay, maybe things do work out, maybe good will happen, or maybe good does happen. If we have this sense that I can afford to take a risk and let go for a few seconds of my certainty. I can let go of the idea that enlightenment doesn't look like this. Maybe enlightenment looks like this. I can let go of the idea that my childhood wasn't good. I can let go of the idea that I wasn't as recognized as I should have been. Whatever it is, those people were unkind to me. We just for some seconds, we let go of our belief and open to what is there without the belief. What is reality before we start assessing and evaluating? Now, how do we cultivate this sense that it's okay to let go a little bit? This basic okayness, like that, there's enough goodness that I'll be held without needing to have my grip so tight. There's enough okayness that I don't have to be right about that. I don't have to be right about what my mom should have done. I don't have to be right about how my kids should be taking care of themselves. I don't have to be right. How can we just let it go for a little bit? Well, cultivating basic okayness really helps. And I have a great list in my book of how to cultivate that sense that, okay, there's enough holding here, I can let go. So I do not have this list memorized. I am going to read it from my book because it's a great list. So practice gratitude for specific things. Just start noticing through the day all the good things that happen. And as we start practicing the gratitude, we start to realize, oh, wow, there is quite a lot of goodness here. We can collect stories about people who made it through loss and failure. So, our idealized thing, like that woman with her dad dying, she could collect stories about people whose dad died young and how their lives turned out. So we can do that. We can build up a sense that maybe our belief is not correct because we're collecting evidence to the contrary. We can rehearse memories of times when life worked out beyond our expectations. So many times we're certain, oh, I should have gotten into that graduate school, and I got into a different one, and lo and behold, it was even better. All these times when we thought we knew how it should be. We thought we wanted to date so-and-so. Later we watched how their lives turned out. Good, we didn't date them. Collect those. Collect all the evidence that we really don't know what should happen, that our greatest hopes wouldn't have turned out. Something else did end up working out better. Start and end the day by wishing blessings on people. As we feel that goodness is accessible, goodness feels good. Blessing other people is actually something we enjoy, we benefit, we're capable of. We feel that goodness is part of our nature. And when we recognize more clearly the goodness in our nature, it becomes easier to observe the goodness in other people's nature. So blessing other people starts to increase the sense of goodness in all of life. We can start the day with the intention that we will experience joy that day. It just kind of signals to our unconscious that there is goodness that will be happening. Yeah, there may be things that we weren't hoping for, but if we signal to our unconscious there will be good things happening today, our unconscious is going to be more open to noticing it. We can perform acts of kindness where the other person doesn't know. Again, we're accessing the goodness that's available right within us. And as we access that goodness, we find out, oh, look, it doesn't run out. It's actually enjoyable. We feel it doesn't take that much from us after all. We feel that goodness is here. And then we experience it more and more in life. We can give something away to somebody who might use or appreciate it. And we can hold ourselves in a cloud of love and acceptance, bringing any experience into the cloud. I have one sensation, I don't know, maybe this happened to me as a child, where somebody with much bigger hands than me wrapped their hand around my rib cage, and they were much taller than me. They could see through the crowd, and they were just sort of guiding me right through. It was amazing. It just felt like, oh, there's greater wisdom, greater guidance. I just relaxed, followed the guidance. And I can sit back and just feel, yeah, right, that giant hand just cupping me, guiding me. As we rest in that, it speaks into our unconscious. For rehearsing issues and problems, our unconscious is going to think we're in danger all the time, even when we're not. But if we're rehearsing that sense of love and acceptance, our unconscious is going to recognize, oh, this is available. This is part of the world too. And then that willingness to let go of some of our attached beliefs and experiment with checking out reality as it is becomes a greater capacity. So being able to sense into this basic okayness and cultivate it, just becomes a catalyst, becomes a fertilizer for all the rest of this work. It's one of those sort of helpful ingredients that we actually can do something about. So the basic okayness is this sense that there's enough goodness here that I can afford to let go of my clutch hold of what I'm certain about reality. I can let go of that, at least for a little bit, and just test and see, what if I release myself into reality as it is and test to see if it's okay. So again, if you find this helpful or think someone else might, please like, share, and subscribe.